nice to see you too. You really do have Budo will travel, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So you're doing some sword practice here?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Something to keep the blood going till you guys got here.
Well, this is a nice park.
It is, yeah. Stockton actually has a lot of surprisingly nice amenities despite its reputation as a violent area.
Okay.
There are nice pockets. We were fortunate enough to live in one and close to some others.
Awesome. Well, did you want to head over to the spot over at Evolution Photography and see if we can...
Great idea. It's real close by, so
awesome.
Let's do that thing.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Hi folks, I'm Dale Seago, and I'm the founder and original instructor of the Bujinkan San Francisco dojo. I do a few other things too. My main thing right now is security work and some special program development training.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your military background?
That's very extensive. I'm, first of all, enlisted Marine starting in 1970, and after 3 years of active duty with that, I went back to school, to college, got into ROTC, and then I turned to the dark side and got an Army commission.
All right.
And was an Army intelligence branch officer and worked mainly in psychological warfare operations.
Awesome. How long did you do that for?
Total service time, almost 20 years. Only 16 of it, unfortunately, was creditable because of peculiarities with the ROTC program back then. So
okay.
I'm honorably retired, technically. It's just that it's an unfunded retirement.
Okay. Now you got out of the military, and did you immediately start working in the security work? Because you've been working in security for...
A lot of it I did actually concurrently with military service as a reservist.
Okay.
For a number of years. So the military, or rather the security work goes back decades also.
Okay. How long would you say you've been working security? And what kind of security? We're not talking like mall security here.
No. No, and in fact, I still sometimes get emails from recruiters, looking for an IT security manager and stuff. And, sorry, folks, that's not what I do. I'm in physical security. If you think Secret Service or Bureau of Diplomatic Security Protection agents, that's the kind of training that I've formally had, and I've worked in that kind of a niche too, although not specifically for government agencies.
Okay.
But basically physical security management programs.
Now you mentioned that you started the San Francisco Bujinkan dojo about 30 years ago. How long have you been training in the Bujinkan specifically?
That specifically 34 years.
Wow.
I did a number of other arts for 14, 15 years prior to that, but then found the Bujinkan and decided, yes, I like this. I literally fell in love with it, and I've stayed with it ever since.
Okay, that's kind of near and dear to me because, I trained in the Bujinkan for a number of years as well. Mm-hmm. Trained in the Bujinkan up until the time I started training in Yanagi-ryu, which is another thing that we have in common.
Yeah, we do. Actually, back in the, it was like mid to late 80s, before Anjay-sama had become famous, right? A friend of mine who was training in my dojo, he was one of the original San Francisco group. He at that time was a San Francisco cop and went on to get into the State Department's Bureau of Diplomatic Security. But he had met Don Anjay down in Southern California, and he introduced me to him. And actually, Don used to come up periodically and spend a weekend with my training group, hanging out, teaching. Literally just for a place to crash and meals. I mean, it wasn't a financial thing. It was a friendship and mutual sharing thing. And I owe him a lot, frankly, for being able to understand some things about Hatsumi Sensei and what he was doing as early as I did. I was able to pick up a lot of things because there were things that, even though the arts are different, there are some similar points. And Don was able to look at some of what he's doing on video and explain it, and in English,
right? To the Western mind,
to the Western mind with that context. So that was very, very helpful. And for years, I also went to seminars that he would give more publicly, up in Northern California, and I really regret that the last few years I wasn't able to get to any of them. The timing didn't work out, but I always made sure that some of my students went.
Okay.
And so a lot of my students have a background with them as well.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but that's actually how I know you, is through my teacher. So he spoke very highly of you. He had a lot of wonderful things to say about you, all the way up until his passing in 2014. So that's how actually I got to know you, is through my teacher. So he didn't speak about a lot of people, and he certainly didn't speak very, very highly about a lot of people, I'm sure.
I know.
So that's kind of cool. That's kind of a special
It really
thing, I
is.
think.
Yeah. It's wonderful to know that. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So without further ado, one more thing I wanted to ask you about, and we didn't discuss it. You've been training in the Bujinkan for 34 years. And I think a lot of our viewers probably aren't super aware of what the Bujinkan is, or different ranks and stuff in the Bujinkan. I know you probably don't like talking about it. You're a humble individual, but do you mind bragging a little bit about, at least telling us what your rank is or what your status is in the Bujinkan?
Sure. I'll try to keep it brief, but in terms of its background, Anje Sensei's family art was connected with Onmitsu in Japan, basically secret agents and stuff, which nowadays we probably would call ninja. Well, it's the same thing with several of the arts that are under the Bujinkan umbrella under Hatsumi Sensei. They have that kind of a background. Even after the Meiji Restoration, when supposedly ninja no longer existed, well, the families still did, and they were still in government positions and organizations involved in that kind of work, and kept passing this stuff along. And nowadays, especially in the last year, we've developed a lot of solid historical documentation about that too. So there's a ninja connection, although that's only a small part of what Hatsumi Sensei teaches directly. But everything comes from that perspective.
Okay.
And the ranking system would seem weird. I know it does seem weird to a lot of people.
Right.
Because instead of like a modern Q or a downgrade system or the older
Menkyo system.
Yeah, the older Menkyo system, culminated with Menkyo Kaiden, it combines elements of both. And because, well, there are 9 arts, you can't say, well, the guy's this rank in this one, this rank is that one, that rank in this art under the Bujinkan. It's horribly confusing. So he developed a more comprehensive system that combines elements of both, where up to first degree black belt, you're a beginner.
Okay.
And then there are 3 major levels, but each of those are subdivided into 5 black belt grades. So it does have 3 major levels like the old system.
Okay.
But there are dan ranks within those, like something like the more modern system.
Like black belt ranks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And that goes up to 15th, and then there are a couple of additional awards beyond that. And in terms of where I fit with that, I started actually the very end of '83, and then in '89, summer of '89, I passed the 5th degree black belt test, which at that time was being given only by Hatsumi Sensei.
Right, and that's significant because it typically signifies that you're an official student of Hatsumi Sensei.
Right, and that's the point where you become officially recognized as an instructor. And I was one of the first 20 Americans to pass that.
Wow.
But then, I got to I've been in a permanently non-promotable rank status since like 2010, I think it was. That's when I reached 15th dan.
Okay.
But there are a couple of additional recognitions beyond that, as Yushu Shihan, which I got in 2015, and that basically means somebody who's like an important teacher and you should listen to it.
Okay.
Okay, and then there is also a Daishihan award that I received in December.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
This past year.
Right. I think I already congratulated you, but
Thank you.
for purposes of this episode, we'll congratulate you again. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Dale. And we want to thank Evolution Photography once again for providing this awesome space for us to be able to do this interview.
Thanks again.
All right. Thank you very much, Dale.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, as always, stay savage.
Let's hold